Mrs. Bass, why don't you go ahead and take the roll again, since it's a separate meeting and we're doing things a little different than ever before.
Okay. Okay. District 1, Barbara McQuinn.
Here.
District 2, Chuck Shaw.
Here.
District 3, Karen Brill.
Here.
District 4, Erica Whitfield.
Here.
District 5, Frank Barbieri.
Here.
District 6, Marcia Andrews.
Here.
District 7, Deborah Robinson.
Here.
Great. So we have quorum, obviously. So the first item is to approve the minutes from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 board meetings in February. Do we have a motion? Motion by Mr. Shaw, seconded by Dr. Robinson. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? No opposed. Motion carries 7-0. We have one item that's been added for good cause. It's item TL2. And I'm trying to get to it. The good cause statement, the opportunity to apply for a 2% cost of living federal assistance increase for the district's Head Start and Early Head Start programs just became available and has a deadline before the end of this month. This cost of living increase is critical to helping sustain the district's Head Start and Early Head Start classrooms. The district's Head Start programs must pay for the most recent board-approved raises, which are retroactive, even though no new revenues are available except for the potential cost of living adjustment increase. Mr. Superintendent, do you have any items to withdraw?
Mr. Chairman, I have nothing to withdraw at this time.
Board members, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items pulled from the consent agenda. FMPA4, FMPA5, P3, POLA1, POLA2. At this point, do any board members want to approve any other items or pull any other items? Seeing none, we need a motion to approve the agenda as modified. Motion by Ms. McQuinn, second by Mrs. Whitfield. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. And are there any disclosures or abstentions from any board members? Seeing none, Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We are now midway through the 5th week of distance learning, and I continue to be impressed by the dedication of our teachers and the resilience of our students. As a district, we are well aware of the challenges that distance learning presents, particularly for our teachers who may be working harder than ever to keep students engaged and inspired, while also taking care of their own families. One of the benefits to come out of distance learning is that we all have a better appreciation for the role of that of our children's teachers and what they play in their students' lives. May 4th through May 8th is Teacher Appreciation Week. Now more than ever, our teachers are going above and beyond. Please take a moment to say thank you. Please also take a moment to thank the educational leaders of our schools. May 1st is School Principals Day. The district is honored to have 179 of the best principals in the nation right here in Palm Beach County leading our schools. Their steadfast leadership is driven by passion and professionalism. As a group, they are responsible for the nearly seamless rollout of district's distance learning plan and the many successes that our students are experiencing during this previously uncharted method of wide-scale instruction. So we thank you on the day set aside for you, and we honor you every day. Please also join me in honoring our Haitian students, staff, community members, as we recognize that May is Haitian Heritage Month. This annual celebration is typically a time when Haitian Americans share their history, culture, traditions, music, crafts, and cuisine. I regret that some planned celebrations may be impacted by social distancing recommendations. However, I look forward to hearing about Haitian heritage lessons and projects created by our teachers and shared with our students. Mr. Chairman, those are my comments at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Board members, Ms. McQuinn?
Sometimes that white spot doesn't want to show up. If ever there was a time to share profound remarks with you, it would be now. However, knowing that I seldom have profound remarks, and there certainly aren't any that would fit the extraordinary situation that we find ourselves in now. What I have witnessed during this time are innumerable acts of kindness and generosity, from feeding students and communities at large, amazing anonymous donors, and donors who are named. And I understand that we'll be collecting all of those, and it will be a huge list at a later time. People taking the time to simply say thank you. You know, I hear people saying to a supermarket clerk, thank you for working today. And so there are so many people who deserve thanks, and I think rather than business as usual, we are remembering to do that simple thank you. Our superintendent continues to respond admirably to very rapidly fluid situations. And I'm going to ask that as we move forward, that we very purposefully seek feedback and input from all of the different groups that we've heard from since all of this has begun: our students, our student government leaders, our teachers, our parents, that we make sure that we are getting their perspectives and their input as we move forward. It wasn't possible at this point to do that, and that's what I want to make sure you understand. If our superintendent had not addressed all of these issues that have come up, sometimes hourly, we would have been in a calamitous situation. And yet, we really have the nation looking at what we have done. And I think for a large part saying, good idea. It was a great way of handling it. So I want to thank our superintendent again for that. And I'm going to end with an observation that I feel no one would have ever foreseen or wished for this pandemic. But I believe in the aftermath that we're not going to be business as usual. I see that this can be a catalyst for us doing an even better job than we're doing in educating our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McQuinn. Mr. Shaw.
Thank you very much. I would like to agree very much with what Mrs. McQuinn said, because I think she really touched on most of what I wanted to say. For all of us, we've been on the sideline watching, and I can't even begin to express my appreciation to the superintendent, his leadership team, the principals, the teachers. I talk with teachers every single day and hear the challenges that they have going forward on this, as well as the challenges for all of us as a community. And to watch what's happened, to see that we have the trust that this board had in our superintendent to lead us through this very challenging time, I think is a real commendation to each one of the members of this board, because we took a chance by giving him the authority that we gave. And I heard from school board members and people ask questions from around the state about how did you all get through this? How did it work out so well? But I think it's because we had the trust in a staff that could do a job that was something that nobody has ever experienced before, but it's one that everybody came together. The communication efforts that have been made with the superintendent and his staff on a daily basis, many times a day, staff, his answers to our questions, the communications with leaders, with the cities and the county and around the state, other superintendents, is certainly a tribute to what Palm Beach County can do. And I think our real challenge going forward is going to be the challenges of budget, but also what may have been a completely redraw of public education. We may be facing things that as public education we've never experienced before. And there's a likelihood that our challenges will continue to be there. And I'm just pleased to see that and want to thank everybody, and especially to wish the best to our teachers and principals. As I have talked with the principals and been to some of the distribution of devices and stuff, they did a good job. They were there and they responded. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Ms. Brill?
Thank you, Professor Barbieri. And yes, you do look like a professor. I don't know how well all of you can see me, but today I am wearing blue in honor of World Autism Awareness Month. It is a period dedicated to increasing understanding and acceptance of people with autism, fostering worldwide support, and inspiring a kinder, more inclusive world. Like me, you may have the special fortune of living with or simply being touched by someone with autism. Having a person with autism in our lives has a profound positive impact on our perceptions, beliefs, and expectations. It certainly changed my life for the better. I want to start off my other comments by basically saying what everyone else has said so far, thanking everyone throughout the district for their efforts during this unprecedented time. When this school year began, even in our wildest dreams, or should I say nightmares, no one could have ever imagined moving to distance learning as quickly and completely as we have. Kudos to Dr. Fenoy and his cabinet members. If we were together in the boardroom, I would be applauding our administrators and giving a standing ovation to our teachers. To our parents, guardians, students, and teaching staff, a big thank you for your patience. We are in uncharted territory. Each day we are improving, and we truly appreciate all of you. I also want to give a huge thanks and shout out to James Gavrilos and the Education Foundation of Palm Beach County. I believe at last report, the foundation's device drive resulted in 717 devices being acquired and delivered to the school district. The Education Foundation also launched Kits for Kids, which is a program to get basic supplies into the hands of our students in need. Not to mention the donations they receive for Chromebooks and for our feeding sites. I cannot be any prouder to be a member of that board, and I know that we are all deeply grateful for their tireless work. Finally, I have a very special thank you to make. Mike Erickson is the owner of Canvas Designers, a company that normally manufactures products for boats, large and small. Seeing a need in the community, they've refocused their manufacturing to make face masks and shields. Mike reached out to me immediately to donate hundreds of masks and shields to our food service employees who are preparing and distributing food to our children. Mike Erickson and the Canvas Design family, I cannot thank you enough. Stay safe, everyone. We will get through this together, and thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brill. Mrs. Whitfield?
Thank you so much. I just wanted to take a quick minute to reiterate some of the statements that were said by everyone else. From the position of being a mom who's actually watched her daughter for the last few weeks go through this new distance learning, it has meant so much to me to have these teachers so engaged and so interested in teaching our children still. I really think the effort that they have made is nothing short of Herculean. They have actually done something that I think is even more important, which is give our children an opportunity to connect with each other during this time. My daughter, up until 2 months ago, was an only child and didn't really have anybody else to play with. So there's no one else for her to talk to, and she does some FaceTime, but to be on a class Google and be able to see her friends in school means so much. And so I want to say thank you, because I know that so many parents out there are also equally as grateful to have that opportunity for their children. Also, I'd like to say a huge thank you to the staff at the school district, outside of just the teachers. What has happened in administration, the things that they have accomplished, I know they're working long hours, and so I'm so grateful for that. To be able to see the district in such capable hands has really meant so much. So finally, I do want to introduce you all to my daughter. I just had a little girl, and she came home yesterday. So this is her. Here we go. This is Nora Catherine. She is 2 months old, and we are just so thrilled because she's been in the NICU at Palms West for 2 months, and I am so happy to be able to hold her and see her every day. It means absolutely the world to me, and I want to say thank you to everyone in the community who has been so supportive and praying for us this whole time. It just, I don't think I can express to you how much it has meant to me. So thank you all, and say hi to Nora. Hi. Hopefully I'll see her in person soon. Thank you.
Mrs. Whitfield, what did she weigh when she was born, and what does she weigh now? I know she made a huge progress.
She was 2 pounds, 10 ounces, and as of yesterday, she's 6 pounds, 11 ounces. So she is really, I got to tell you, the nurses in the NICU are amazing. They have really, I mean, just the work that they can do with babies. She had a very tough start. She had a lot of pneumothoraxes, which I know Dr. Robinson knows what they are, but her lungs kept popping, and it was very scary in the beginning. But she has just turned into a completely normal newborn. So we're really, really thrilled. Now I have the struggle of trying to take up where the NICU nurses left off, and that's, I got to tell you, hard to get this baby to eat is difficult. So we're working through it.
Well, we're very happy for you and your family.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Marcia Andrews, Mrs. Andrews.
Thank you, everyone, and good afternoon. COVID-19 coronavirus has really been something that's caused a lot of anxiety to everyone, as well as panic all across the world. And I just want to say to everyone that you know that you have a great school district, and your superintendent and team, along with the school board, have been with you all the way and will continue to be with you all the way to make sure student learning and academic success is there for every child. It's been difficult because many have been working from home. Many have been out there in the field because they were essential workers. But whatever it took from this school district to make sure that education proceeded, whether it was feeding, whether it was educating through academics, whether it was holding a hand, this school district has been here for all of our children as well as our community. And I must say, as we come to you remotely, we are always with you, and we will never be apart. And we have learned how to do things remotely quite well now, as we can see. And so I want everyone to stay positive. To our students, especially our seniors, wow, it's truly been an adjustment and a letdown, because this is a big year for you, for all of the exciting things that you had to do and was planning to do, your proms, your senior class activities, just graduation, everything. You have been so positive and you've made the adjustment. I want you to stay positive. Positive thinking will always help you be better. Stay positive. And to the teachers, you've had to work from home. Many of you have a family, but you did not let that stop you from taking care of your children. The principals, the region staff, the administrative staff from the district, all of you have coordinated to make sure every child had the Chromebooks necessary, had all of the food that they needed. Many school sites, you were food serving sites. You did it. I saw the principals out there helping to get the food to the students' parents as the students were riding in many of those cars. So we fed you, we wanted to make sure we taught you, and we want to make sure that you know that you are not alone. And the parents and the community, it's a big deal, parents, for you. This was truly adjustment. Many of you had to go to work and leave your students home. Some of you were able to stay home with your children, but you had to get it done and work with your children. And the community has been there for you. The feeding sites, with Feeding Florida and many of our nonprofits, you donated that food to make sure children were able to eat, as well as families were able to eat. We must continue to focus on the good. And to all of us, we must follow the rules to stay healthy so that we can be together again personally as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Andrews. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you. I did not prepare the Black History fact that I should have prepared, because somehow in my mind, this is still not a board meeting. But I do have some talking points that I would like to share. So first, let me say, as the only physician on the board, many people did see this pandemic coming. And I'm going to feel some responsibility for not saying that to the school district that we should get ready, even though there was no idea when it would happen. But we knew in the medical community it's just a matter of time. We also know that we have challenges to come. So let me not go into that too much. We also know there's a saying that says when America gets a cold, the Black community gets pneumonia. So I've sent you articles about the disproportionality in the deaths of Black people from COVID. And the reason I share that with the education community is the underlying reasons why apply to education too. And I hope at some point in time that we will all read those articles and that we'll have some conversation, because it makes our equity work even more important than ever, I think. The light has been turned on so that we should all see it. I too want to applaud our team because they really had to recreate education on a dime. It was like just do an about face and change everything. And I know that they worked hard and had sleepless nights trying to recreate education. I also know from participating in conference calls with the Council of Great City Schools that that all other districts had to do the same thing. And we've taken some notes from others. I don't think that we are leading the pack, but we're certainly in the group in the front, I would think, based upon conversations I've heard through Council of Great City Schools. So I really do want to thank really everyone, the leadership at the district, the school-based leadership, the teachers, all the support staff, and the parents. And the parents, I know I've been hearing from the parents about the struggle. And the struggle is real. I'm thankful that I'm not practicing medicine now, and I'm thankful that I don't have children at home now. But I do intend to tweak and push and prod to make us do an even better job for all of the stakeholders. I want to announce to you, and we should have it out on social media soon, that Serena Williams, famous tennis player, donated 20,000 masks to the community. And this afternoon, 5,000 of those masks were delivered to Early Learning Coalition, actually by one of our school district employees, even though she took the afternoon off, but so that the child care centers that remain open can have masks. And in addition, 4,000 of those masks were delivered to Healthier Neighbors so that community members can make sure that they have the means to protect themselves. So I think that you've done a tremendous job. But you know me, I'm going to push to make us even better. I find this as, in this state of disruption, this is the opportunity that we have to restructure education on the other side of this pandemic so that we actually meet the needs of all children, all parents, all staff, and that we actually live up to our mission statement. And so in an effort to get the information that we really need in order to restructure the delivery of educational services, I want to tell you that tomorrow I'm really thankful that district staff has accepted the invitation, and district staff specifically, our Deputy Superintendent Adam Miller, I'm going to mess up the title, Director of Educational Technology, and the Regional Superintendent for the North area have agreed to be on a Facebook Live with me, hosted by the Coalition for Black Student Achievement, South Palm Beach County chapter of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, and the West Palm Beach chapter of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, to talk about the gap in distance learning. And so it's a crisis, but it's also an opportunity. And I will, you know me, I'm going to continue to add my voice to try to make Palm Beach County schools as great as we say that we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Board members, my report is attached to the agenda tonight. It's basically just the meetings that I attended over the last 2 months since our last board meeting, but I wanted to hone in on a couple of things. Some of you said, you thanked everybody I was going to thank, so I'm not going to take the time to do that. I mean, the district has done tremendous job of getting us through this up to this point. I will say that I had the opportunity to speak at several organizations where there were lots and lots of people that had very much influence in the community. And as Dr. Robinson started to say, we did, and then she said, no, you did, and she meant the administration. It was nice to be there to hear them say what a great job that we did as a school board, but really we didn't do it. The superintendent, as everybody's already said, the superintendent and the staff, from the superintendent on down. I mean, I visited some of the schools when they were handing out the food, and I saw the food staff standing in the hot sun with their masks on, sweating, handing out the food, and saw custodians cleaning up the mess. And it goes without saying that the teachers and the principals have been unbelievable in making sure that distance learning goes forward. So, I just know that we've been praised by a lot of people saying what a great job that the district did in such a short period of time. So it's nice to be able to take the credit, although we don't deserve it. The administration deserves all that. I also want to take the opportunity to thank the City of Boca Raton City Council. Last night at its City Council meeting, it passed a resolution whereby we will be able to move forward with the construction of the brand new elementary school in Boca Raton, which will, as all of you know, will house about 900 students, which will very much help all of the schools, not just the schools in the city, but the schools outside the city, including Water's Edge and Sunrise Park and Whispering Pines. They're all getting near capacity, and we keep shifting kids around to try and make room, but we're running out of room in the South region in District 5, so that school will certainly help a lot. So I want to thank the City Council for making millions of dollars worth of land available to the school district at no charge so that we can build that new school that we much need. With that said, we'll move over to student government. Mr. President Manuel, you have something you'd like to share with us this evening?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is staying safe and hopeful during these trying times of quarantine. Through these tough times, student governments and other clubs and organizations around the county have stepped up to make an impact on their schools. We have seen virtual spirit weeks, dress-up days, and interactive activities on Google Meets and social media, Instagram and Facebook pages to recognize graduating seniors, senior class of 2020 yard signs, and school-wide opportunities to appreciate medical personnel and first responders with online thank you letters. Even though this unpredictable situation can be difficult at times, the students of Palm Beach County have continued to stay dedicated to their work and their responsibilities, whether it be academically or extracurricularly. Since the year is coming to a close, the biggest thing weighing on all of our minds is graduation. I speak to all of my seniors when I say this. I'm upset too. Many of us are concerned how the virtual graduation is going to turn out. My idea of a traditional graduation is obviously a big grand stage and a huge production followed by names being called and seniors walking with their family there in support. Recently, I've realized, as well as many of you, that this may not be possible for the graduating class of 2020, even if postponing the ceremony to later in the year. With that in mind, I believe that our district has done everything in their power to make this virtual graduation the best that it can be. If I'm being honest with all of you and with myself, I have to say I was very concerned at first. Until last week, when I attended the school board workshop, I was not in support of the virtual graduation. By the end of the workshop, I changed my mind. Listening to the board members, the superintendent, and Mrs. Shea, I realized that they care about the class of 2020 as much as we do. If they were able to hold a physical graduation, they would, but they just can't. I am in full support of the school board's actions and decisions and hope that you will be too. Instead of completely doing away with graduation, they're putting in even more effort to send us off with something that we can be proud of. The virtual graduation is so that you can be recognized for your 13 years of hard work and dedication to making it past one of the biggest obstacles in your life. Even though we would have never in a million years imagined our last day of high school being March 13th and having everything around us get canceled, we should be proud to say that we are the graduating class of 2020. We will forever be remembered as a class that got through it and the best to ever do it. Thank you.
Thank you, President Manuel. Just a follow-up comment that I like to make is, I've heard from a lot of students, including talking to you, and I know that one of the major concerns that the seniors have is not so, I don't want to downplay their, not walking across the stage, but it seems like the biggest concern they have is just they never got a chance to say goodbye. They never got a chance to say goodbye to each other. They never got a chance to say goodbye to their teachers, to their, take pictures with their friends, sign their yearbooks, do all the things that you do on grad night and, after the proms and all the other things. So I know that we said this last week during the workshop, the superintendent is working with the principals, and I know that the principals have been encouraged at some point in the future, whenever that can happen, to get all of you back together at your school so you'll have one last chance to do all the things that you couldn't do when the year ended abruptly in the middle of March rather than the end of May when it normally does. So I'm hopeful that the superintendent will be able and the principals will be able to get that done as soon as possible so that you all have at least some semblance of a graduation, the things that go with a graduation. So we'll move on from there.
Mr. Chairman, I had two comments to that. I think it's also important for the board and Jaden to recognize. I've been back in my regular rhythm of talking to municipal leaders, mayors, et cetera. And so even in the mayor world, they're trying to plan something in the future. And so everybody's thinking about this. I think personally, Jaden, I want to ask you this. Is your room always that clean? Because I have an 11-year-old boy. I know there are lots of board members that have raised sons. I don't know if I've ever seen a young man's room that clean. So I'm gonna make my son watch this so he can see what a good room looks like.
It's only for show. I just cleaned it up.
Thanks for being honest, Jaden. I remember my kids, I wouldn't walk in there without a nose clip, to hide the smell. We'll move on to the committee reports. Audit committee is attached. Unless anybody has any question, it's attached to the report. Construction Oversight Review Committee is also attached to the agenda. The Independent Sales Surtax Oversight Committee report is attached to the agenda. And with respect to the legislative update, it's listed there under the committee report section, but as a reminder, Capital City Consulting provided school board members with a pre-recorded report to recap highlights from the 2020 Florida legislative regular session, and the recording was made publicly available on the district website. Ron LaFace and Megan Fay from Capital City Consulting have joined us virtually today to answer follow-up questions about the recording or other state legislative matters. At this time, I'll open up the discussion to see if any board members have any questions for Ron or Megan. No questions? Dr. Robinson?
I don't have a question, but I wanted to say that method of communicating with us about all those details was fantastic.
Ron, are you there?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Member Robinson. I appreciate that feedback. It took a couple of takes, I will admit.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Chairman.
We have some comments that were submitted to the board office. Mrs. Bass, do you want to go through those?
Sure. We have 3 delegate speakers